Well, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey, everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I just want to go through 10 potential reasons as to why we may have hit the bottom for Bitcoin. Now, first of all, disclaimer, I don't think anybody can really time the bottom. I think you can speculate that it's the bottom, but I don't think anybody really knows for sure. But I'm just seeing a lot of confluence here. I'm going to show you 10 things to make me think as to why that is. First of all, you just go by some of the key moving averages here. The first one I usually look at is the 50-week simple moving average, which has been pretty significant for Bitcoin. As you can see throughout Bitcoin history, 50 tend to be a very important level where it tends to serve as pretty important resistance here. As it breaks through, it tends to backtest as a support. It broke through underneath that during COVID, but came back tested, and just went to the moon, right? Before it broke down, it came back tested 50, bounced, right? Once, twice, and then initially was trying to back test it again, but unfortunately the whole train got exhausted, broke down, back test, went down, initially got rejected over here, but broke through. We haven't really back tested 50-week simple moving average until just last few weeks. We're finally back testing that. It's still positive sloping, so I think it's probably still going to serve as some pretty decent support moving forward. But that's one reason as to why I think we may have had a local bottom here. The other reason, instead of looking at the 50-week simple moving average, we can also look at the exponential moving average of the 50. Now, the exponential moving average is a lot quicker, but for Bitcoin also has been very important, right? It does look a little bit different from the simple moving average. If I can just kind of overlay them to, like, there's a lot of confluence actually, like the exponential and the simple moving average actually are looking very similar right now at this point. They don't always have to, but they do, right? And both the exponential as well as the simple are basically hitting some potential support zone over here, and it's been very important level of support and resistance, as you can see, right? So that's the second reason. The third reason is if you do a volume weighted average price, and we do it during this particular pivot over here, and this is a very important pivot because a lot of people were really scared that it was just going to drop down a lot further, and this pivot really was able to show us that, hey, we're going to become more bullish, right? So if I click the VWAP starting from that area, from that pivot, you can see that price bounced pretty nicely from that level. So that's another potential reason, because over here, basically at this level, like whoever ended up buying over there, they're still in profit. And when they're in profit, they're less likely to want to sell because they still think the price is going to probably go up a lot higher. So that's the third reason. Fourth reason is if you look at the super trend is still positive on the weekly. And it looks like, matter of fact, we already just kind of had like a little bit of a super trend back test here in the past, right? So it still looks bullish on the super trend. The fifth thing here is something called the on balance volume. And if you look over on balance volume throughout the entire cycle here, what you're going to see is that I picked up really two regular bullish divergence and one hidden bullish divergence. The regular divergence I pick up currently is one over here as it really formed the bottom. It was forming the bottom on bullish divergence here on balance volume, right? Price went down on balance volume, went up. There's a bullish divergence there. And as we are picking up the divergence over here, I can pick up some signs for actually a hidden bullish divergence where price kind of went up a little bit, but the unbalanced volume went down, right? So basically, pretty much on every single important pivot, before price went pretty strongly to the other way, you are really seeing some pretty important divergence here on the unbalanced volume, right? So what you're seeing here right now, price kind of went down here a little bit from, I guess from around July 2024 to current, price went down a little bit here, right? But what did the unbalanced volume do so far? Unbalanced volume actually has gone up. This is another example of a bullish divergence here. Now, there are some people who are arguing, oh, you have like a bearish divergence here. I think that's already worked out. I think this bearish divergence has already worked out with price kind of dropping down further. And right now, the predominant force right now is a bullish divergence. So there's a possibility, I'm not saying that it is the case, but there's a possibility that we might have a pretty decent local bottom and price could potentially just kind of go up from there. there's a lot of confluence here. I want to show you another one, which is the Ichimoku cloud. It just bounced from the weekly Ichimoku cloud over here, and it basically just flipped the Ichimoku cloud from resistance over here, finally after a year, into support, right? When you have resistance flip into support, these things are generally bullish. And whenever I see something like this, I'm leaning more bullish towards Bitcoin probably having a more bullish continuation afterwards. Now, that is the sixth reason. The seventh reason is if you look at the monthly, on the monthly chart in general for bull market, price generally rides up the blue line, the Tenkan riding up, right? Right now, the Tenkan is positive pointing. Right now, the price is still above the Tenkan. So as far as we know, it's still a bull market, and it's still using Tenkan support to potentially go up higher. You can see like previous cycle rise the Tenkan up, the cycle before it really rise the Tenkan up, like the blue line all the way up. So currently, it's just still using it as a support, and it's holding the support. So that is also another reason as to why I think that Bitcoin may have formed a pretty decent local bottom over here. Now, a couple other things too is the monthly Supaichi. If I pull up the monthly Supaichi, you can see that price has so far this month backtested the Kijun over here, almost pretty perfectly on the monthly here. Now, if I zoom out a little bit to the 2 month, it backtested the Tenkan over here too on the Supaichi cloud, right? So all of these still leaning a little bit more bullish here as well, even on the higher time frame Supaichi cloud. And finally, I do want to mention one more thing, and with this one more thing, I'm going to kind of zoom out to a little bit of a higher time frame. I think there's also another divergence that is very, very important. There is an indicator that I've been playing around with a lot more called the M2 Global Liquidity Index. You can find this under indicator tab and just search for it. It's there. It basically calculates all the M2 money supply from the US, Japan, China, Europe, and the Great Britain. And basically it comes up with like an aggregate of all of this. And if you're looking right now, there is a little bit of discrepancy here because we are having a little bit of a price kind of slipping down while global liquidity actually is pumping up a lot, right? So there is something to be said about, hey, are we just having some sideways consolidation? Are we just having some reaccumulation while, we're just basically getting ready for another pump, right? The global liquidity index certainly seems to be suggesting that to be the case. But anyway, just want to go through, I think I mentioned about like 10 reasons to why I think Bitcoin may have locally bottomed again. None of these are absolutism. I do not want to say, I don't like to say anything that's like absolutism, because anybody who makes absolute statements are probably not very smart. You are going to have an open mind point of view, and I just want to show you a lot of confluence that I'm seeing right now to kind of give you an idea in terms of what I'm thinking. That is all. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. Have a good one. Bye.